Okay, students, our next topic is services under the Union and states. Services under the Union and states. Article 308 to 323 of Indian Constitution deals with this particular chapter. So, with the independence, we have enormous responsibilities. Without the help of services, either central or state or all India services, it is very difficult to run the administration because this administrative setup is very essential for the progress. Because when we have discussed about executive, we have two types of executive. The one is political executive, the other one is non-political executive. So this particular non-political executive is permanent executive, whereas political executive is non-permanent. So when the person is recruited into the service, he is going to serve the state till his superannuation. So in that context, we have built very efficient civil services at central level and state level. So here the Constitution is speaking about these conditions and services and safeguards under this particular chapter. So Article 308 to 323 of Indian Constitution deals with this particular aspect. So the services are backbone for economy. These services are backbone for development. Without we can't run efficient administration because political executive is non-permanent, whereas this non-political executive is permanent. So here what is happening? This a country without an efficient civil services cannot progress in spite of earnestness of the people at the helm of affairs in the country. At the helm of affairs country means those who are at highest level, because normally the minister is at highest level, but without the support of this staff, he can't run the administration. So, if you look at the scheme of provisions provided in Constitution, Article 309, if you look at Article 309, empowers Parliament and the state legislatures to regulate the recruitment and the conditions of services of the persons appointed to public services and force under the Union and the states respectively. So, under Article 309, the President and the Governor may make rules for regulating the recruitment and conditions of services of persons appointed to such services posts. So here what is happening? Here, this 309 is speaking about regulations and conditions. In state level, state legislature, at central level, parliament is empowered to frame conditions for the regulations, conditions and qualifications. These are all subjects to constitutional provisions because this particular duty is given to at level central parliament at central level and state level state legislators, otherwise president or governor as may be otherwise. Okay, so here Article 309 empowers state and central to conditions. Suppose if you want to have a recruitment at state level, the state is going to regulate the conditions, prescribe conditions, prescribe qualifications. Same is the case with parliament. So what is happening today? We have different services in state level, for example, Group 4, Group 3 and Group 2 and Group 1, whereas at Union Public Service Commission and central government, central services, the conditions, when it comes to the conditions, the state is going to prescribe qualifications. At the same time, the Union Parliament is going to prescribe qualifications. So, for this, they have Constitution provides for service commissions. We have service commissions at state level and central level. So, State Public Service Commission is going to see how to regulate how to prescribe conditions, and same in the case with Union Public Service Commission. At the same time, these are all subject to the constitutional provisions and fundamental rights. Okay, so this is the scheme, this is the structure we have, and it comes to services and civil services. And it comes civil post and military post, and also later we will try to define what is the difference between civil post and defense post. So this is the scheme. Now what we have to see, if we look at the opening words of Article 309, subject to the provisions of the Constitution, subject to the provisions of the condition. So what it indicates, the law-making power of legislator or rule-making power of executive must not contravene any provisions of the Constitution such as 310, 311 and 320. Means the remaining Article 310 and 311 and 328 deals with some provisions, because the law-making power mentioned in Article 309 must not contravene these subsequent articles. So now we are discussing about the services and law-making power under Article 309. So now we have recruitment agencies. We have recruitment agencies like Public Service Commissions at state level, Union Public Service Commission at central level. When the person is appointed, when the person is recruited to the civil service, either central level and state level. So what we have to see here, in the coming chapters we are going to discuss about, once the person is appointed, he is going to appointed for certain period. Once he is appointed, his actions must be in consonant disciplinary proceedings. Means what? During his tenure, if he commits any mistake, if he commits any error, how to take action. Once the person is appointed, is he going to be a permanent servant till he attain the age of retirement. So for that reason, we have called doctrine of pleasure. Doctrine of pleasure under Article 310. So what it saying here, a person who is appointed by central government or state government, they will be in position during the pleasure of, when it comes to central government president and state government governor. They will be in position during the pleasure of president or governor. Same is the case we have discussed when it comes to the president, the prime minister, ministers, what we have discussed. Prime minister will be in the power during the pleasure of president. A minister is going to be in position during the pleasure of president. Same is the case with state minister and okay. So here, during the pleasure of, what is this pleasure? Doctrine of pleasure. This pleasure, in India, suppose you take the case of UK, a person can be removed, a civil servant of the crown holds his post during the pleasure of the crown, because there is a crown is head. So the servant will be in the post during the pleasure of governor. So this means that his services can be terminated at any time by the crown without assigning any reason. That is what we have to remember. His service can be terminated without assigning any reason and without giving him a reasonable opportunity. Okay. So that is UK case. Now if you look at Indian case. So we have incorporates the common law doctrine of pleasure, but it expressly provides that all persons who are the members of defense services or the civil services of the Union or India services hold office during the pleasure of president. Similarly, members of state services as governor. But this rule of English law has not been fully adapted in this article. So, means this is not fully adapted, means a civil servant in India could always sue the crown, means president or governor, for arrears of salary. This rule is qualified by the words except or expressly provided by the Constitution. Thus, Article 310 itself places restrictions and limitations on the exercise of pleasure under Article 310 is limited by 311 Clause 2. Okay. So if you go through this particular provision, as I told you, in England, a civil servant can be removed without giving any reason. But they will be in post during the pleasure of crown. Same we have adapted, but with modification. We have not fully adapted. Means with modification means what here? There, in England, they cannot sue the crown for arrears and for any other reasons. But in India, this particular provision, Article 310, what it is saying, if you look at the words, qualified by the words except or expressly provided by the Constitution, means the application of doctrine of pleasure is subject to, in consonance with 311 Clause 2. 311 Clause 2 means a person cannot be removed, like civil servant in UK. Civil servant in UK, they can be removed without giving any reason and opportunity. In India, this particular 310 means the doctrine of pleasure is subject to the provisions of 311 Clause 2. So, here what is happening? We are awarding constitutional safeguards to civil servants, means like principles of natural justice. So, if a person has to be removed, you can't remove him directly, means without giving a reason, without supplying him inquiry copy, for example, and without giving him reason to defend himself, you cannot exercise this doctrine of pleasure. So here, Article 310 itself limited the exercise of doctrine of pleasure, because it is subject to the conditions prescribed in Article 311. So, doctrine of pleasure means here what? If you want to remove a person from post, you have to follow principles of natural justice. You must give him an opportunity to defend himself. So, this is what it is saying. Doctrine of pleasure, application of doctrine of pleasure is mentioned in 310, but the application of doctrine of pleasure is subject to the provisions mentioned in Article 311. Simply, you cannot remove a civil servant from the post, because though the crown is in the position during the pleasure of either governor or president or authority appointed by him, but it is when it comes to removal or dismissal, like anything, you must follow certain constitutional safeguards. What are these safeguards means? You must give them an opportunity. So now you came to know the difference between the application of doctrine of pleasure, in UK and India. Okay. So if you look at, as I told you, 311 Clause 2 of the Constitution, so it is subject to, here you have to protect the principles of natural justice, and you have to protect the fundamental rights, right to equality. These are all coming in the way of application of doctrine of pleasure. Now you came to know what is doctrine of pleasure. A person holds post, a civil servant holds during the pleasure of president, in case of state during the pleasure of governor. This is what doctrine of pleasure. The application of doctrine of pleasure is different from UK. When in India, we are giving certain safeguards to the civil servants. Okay. When it comes to voluntary retirement after the completion of 25 years or 50 years of age, here this application of, here the government servant, okay, So doctrine of pleasure is invoked by the government in public interest after government servant attains the age of 50 years or has completed 25 years of service. This constitutionality permissible as compulsory termination of service. Okay, it does not amount to removal or dismissal. When it comes to application of voluntary retirement, here you cannot apply the doctrine of pleasure. Means here what voluntary retirement it is permissible because it is not going to amount to removal or dismissal. So this is what. Even when it comes to abolition of the post also, they have to show the alternative because the government has right to abolish the post, but they have to provide. It's a matter of policy in which the court has no voice, but the government has to provide alternative employment. So now you have to look at what are the restrictions on doctrine of pleasure. We have discussed what is doctrine of pleasure. Now what are the restrictions on doctrine of pleasure? If you look at Constitution, so it lays down the following limitations. 311. The pleasure of the President or the Governor controlled by provisions of Article 311. So the field is covered by Article 311 is excluded from the operation of the doctrine of pleasure. The pleasure must be exercised in accordance with the procedural safeguards provided by Article 311. That is what I told you. The first restriction is you have to follow Article 311. What are those? You look at the tenure of Supreme Court. Next one, the tenure of Supreme Court judge, High Court judges, Auditor General of India, and these posts are expressly excluded from the operation of doctrine of pleasure because for remove these all highest posts we have separate procedure. The next one is the doctrine of pleasure is subject to fundamental rights. That is what I told you. Doctrine of pleasure is subject to fundamental rights. At the same time, principles of natural justice also, as I told you. Principles of natural justice is indirectly implicit in any provision of the Constitution or any law, not only in Constitution, any law that is qualified by principles of natural justice. These are the three restrictions. The first one is you have to apply Article 311. Next, certain posts were excluded from this doctrine of pleasure. And next one is fundamental rights. Always fundamental rights are superior to any other constitutional and legal right. So now 311, as I mentioned in second point, what are the safeguards available to civil servants? If a civil servant has to be removed, while removing civil servants, what are the guidelines we have to follow? If you look at Article 311, what is there? Restrictions on doctrine of pleasure. No person, first one, no person holding a civil post under the union or state shall be dismissed or removed by authority subordinate to that by which he was appointed. Article 300, Clause 1. Listen carefully. No person holding a civil post under union or state shall be dismissed or removed by authority subordinate to that by which he was appointed. Suppose a person appointed, a ration shop dealer is appointed by collector. When it comes to removal of this particular ration shop dealer, only collector has to remove. If he is removed by sub-collector, because sub-collector is a subordinate authority to collector. So the removal can be done only by collector or above positioned person, means the rank above collector. So what it indicates, when a person is appointed by a particular authority, no subordinate authority have right to remove that person. So suspension they can do. When it comes to removal, the best example I told you, in case of a ration shop dealer, only he can be removed by collector because he was appointed by collector, as the case may be. So person below the rank of appointing authority have no right to remove that particular person from post. Okay, the next one, no person shall be dismissed, removed or reduced in rank except after an inquiry in which he has been informed of the charges against him and give him a reasonable opportunity of being heard in respect of those charges. The second one is, what it is saying, when the person is inquiry is conducted, a person cannot be dismissed or removed or removed or reduced rank, so except after an inquiry. This is what called as principle of application of principles of natural justice. Means without conducting inquiry, you cannot remove anyone. At the same time, he has been informed of the charges against him. You must give him, inform his charges. Again what? After giving charges, you must give him reasonable opportunity to be heard. So, without assigning reason, without giving him chance, that is missing in UK, England, the doctrine of pleasure. Now here it is there what? You have to give him a chance to be heard. Means show cause, that is what you call it as show cause notice. Once you are giving notice, show cause notice, what you will ask? They will ask you, person, you will ask the person why you are not to be removed, show me the reasons. That is called as show cause, as we follow in even political parties also while giving disciplinary actions. Same in the case with government servant also. You must give him an opportunity after conducting inquiry and giving him the inquiry report to defend himself. Even the court also we are following that. What we are doing in court? We are giving a chance to defense. Defense means accused to protect himself, to defend its, to challenge the allegations made against him. Same is the case here also. That person who is going to be removed must be given chance, or without giving an inquiry report, you cannot take action. There are cases where after the finding, person is dismissed without giving him inquiry report. Supreme Court said this is not valid one. It's invalid dismissal because you have not given him a chance. Inquiry report must be given to him. So this is what. So here, these two have to be followed when it comes to doctrine of pleasure. So now the question is, what is civil post? Civil post, you have different versions. A person, military person, post and civil post. So the question is, a person working in military but doing the duty of civilian. Civilian means in military we have different posts like cook, like laundry, like washerman. Okay, you have different posts. The question is, the person who is not participating in the war, who is not participating in the war field, who is not having weapons, can he claim this safeguard under civil post? Can he claim safeguard this under civil post? This is a very important question. So what Supreme Court said? So when it comes to in this case Supreme Court held that, what is the finding of Supreme Court? A person holds a civil post if there exists a relationship of master and servant between the state and the person. So, holding the post, the relationship established if the state has right to select and appoint the holder to the post, right to control the manner, method he is doing work, payment or wages, remuneration. A person employed in police holds a civil post. However, it has in the employees of statutory corporations, government servants, companies are not civil servants, and an employee working in unit-run canteen in airports does not hold a civil post and therefore is not civil servant. Because who is the person who is, what in Supreme Court? A person who is working in military canteen cannot be treated him as a civil servant. For that matter, he cannot claim constitutional safeguards of civil servant because he is treated as part of military. Because military they have separate established rules. At the same time, Supreme Court find another thing is, employees of statutory corporation and government companies registered on Companies Act are not civil. This is very important. So, a bank employee is not civil servant, and government servant is not working in statutory corporation. Companies registered on the Companies Act, they are not government servants. They are not. Okay. So, what they said, they are not civil servants. But they will, you have to give, there also they have to give reasonable opportunity to them to being heard. What I'm trying to say in this case, these statutory corporations and banks, they are not holding the position of government servants. Even a university professor is not a government servant, okay, because university is an autonomous body. Okay, so the first point, no dismissal by removed by authority subordinate to by which he was appointed, Article 311(1). So, now if you look at 311, I am giving you elaborate explanation to 311, which I have mentioned just now. No dismissal or removal by subordinate authority. This is what I explained you. So, here a person who is appointed, a person under 311(1), what it says, a civil servant cannot be dismissed or removed by authority subordinate to the authority he was appointed. This does not mean the removal or dismissal must be a same authority who made the appointment or by his director. It is enough if the removing authority is the same or coordinate rank is appointing authority. What means the rank below is not allowed to remove him, but rank having same rank can take action to remove that person, not below the authority appointed by him. That is what I tell you. In one case, Mahesh versus State of UP, AR 1955, Supreme Court 50. What in this case? A person appointed by the divisional personnel officer was dismissed by the superintendent power. The court held that dismissal was valid because both the officers were the same rank. If the officers are of the same rank, officers means who removed him are the same rank. So there you cannot claim this constitutional safeguard. Okay. So here now you came to know this particular provision. Next, reasonable opportunity. What is this reasonable opportunity? According to Article 311, Clause 2, a civil servant cannot be dismissed or reduced in rank until he has been given a reasonable opportunity. Okay. So, this is what we have discussed, reasonable opportunity and the principles of natural justice. So, now you look at the one case, Khemchand versus Union of India, AR 1958, Supreme Court 300. Khemchand versus Union of India. The appellant who has in government service and served with charge sheet and inquiry was held. On the next day, the appellant challenged the validity of the order dismissal on the ground he had not been supplied the copy of inquiry office report and no opportunity was given him to. So, in this case, what happened? Next day was removed after conducting inquiry. That is what we have discussed in the last discussion also. Giving inquiry report, without giving him an inquiry report to defend him, means you are denying an opportunity, reasonable opportunity to him. So that amounts to what? It is violating the constitutional provision under Article 311. So here what Supreme Court said, what is in this what Supreme Court said in Article 311 and 2, an opportunity to deny his guilt and establish his innocence, which can be only done if he is told what the charges against him or allegation on which he charges. In this case, what Supreme Court finding. So without giving him an opportunity to deny his guilt. Okay. Next, an opportunity to defend himself by cross-examination or witness produced against him and by examining himself or any other witness in support of his defense and also. So here was, you must give, second point what Supreme Court said, you must give him an opportunity to defend himself for cross-examination. What happen in cross-examination? You have discussed in evidence. What happened? So they will cross-examine the witness against you. Okay. So he must give an opportunity to defend himself by cross-examining the against himself. The next one is an opportunity to make his representation as to why the proposed punishment should not be inflicted on him, which he can only do if competent authority, after inquiry is over and after applying his mind to the gravity of the charges, tentatively proposes to inflict one of the three major punishments and communicates same to the government. So here what is happening? You must give him an opportunity. What Supreme Court said. Why you need to give opportunity? That is what Supreme Court said in these three provisions. So this provision which was brought in the Constitution by 15th Amendment. 15th Amendment even in consequence of this particular Kemchand judgment deleted, subsequent to the Supreme Court judgment. Again in 42nd Amendment certain provisions were left. Now it is not necessary to give you inquiry at the second stage of proposed action to be taken. Second stage. So when it comes to second stage, you need not give him all this opportunity. Okay. So if a government servant is dismissed on the basis of findings of the inquiry officer of the court, the court will examine whether requirement of reasonable opportunity were fulfilled or not. If you go to the court, what happens? They will examine. If you challenge the dismissal order, the court will cross-examine whether he has given an opportunity or not. And they will see, the Constitutional Court, they will see whether they have followed the constitutional safeguard under 311(2). Okay. So, here what happened? The inquiry officer is therefore required to follow the rules of natural justice, conducting an inquiry. Natural justice requires that administrative inquiry officer must act fairly and unfairly, and conducting the inquiry, there are certain pertinent rules of principle natural justice. So, this is all. Problem will come when inquiry is conducted. You are going to challenge the inquiry report. So, the court will examine. Examining, so there are certain important rules of natural justice. No one can be a judge in one's own case. First point. No one can be a judge. This is all we know about this. No one can be a judge in one case. Your case, you cannot be a judge. Second point, parties must be heard. You must hear both the parties while taking action. The third one, notice must be given. Without giving notice, if you conduct inquiry, it is not reasonable. It is against the principles of natural justice. Because if you give notice means you are going to, the person is going to defend himself. The fourth one is there should be no bias. Okay, there should be no bias. So you cannot put it in straitjacket because the concept of natural justice cannot be put in a straitjacket. The courts have been constantly extending its scope since the decision of the Supreme Court in Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India. In this matter also, as I told you in the earlier classes also, there is no definition for principles of natural justice. The court is extending its scope where it is violated, where it has not been followed, depends on situation and case-to-case basis. That is why I told you, if you ask to define what is principles of natural justice, no one is going to define. No one is going to define what is principles of natural justice, because for that reason you don't have separate law or principle for natural justice. When there is no question of principles of natural justice, you will not find this word in Constitution, you will not find in the word interpretation, you will not find this word in General Clauses Act also. Okay, so here Maneka Gandhi case, after the decision of the Maneka Gandhi case, and you have another case, I want to remind you, A.K. Kraipak versus Union of India, you might have discussed you may have not discussed. In that case, what happened in A.K. Kraipak Union of India, the person who appeared the interview is also the member of the screening board. So it looks what happened. There is no question of there is no question of impartiality. The same person is attending interview, same person in the interview board, what will happen? No, nothing will happen. Definitely is going to favor himself. This is against the principles of natural justice. Even today, if any member of the interview, any person who is coming to interview is your relative or your son, you are not supposed to be member of that selection board. That is what principles of natural justice. Even courts also, High Court, there is a provision that if there is a person working as judge in High Court, his relatives and his close relatives are not supposed to practice in that particular court. So, here is this is called principles of natural justice. This is implicit. You will find in general life also, you cannot be your own judge, you cannot be judge to your own case. Okay, that is recognized the principles of natural justice. So, this is what doctrine of pleasure, and we will discuss one or two more cases regarding reasonable opportunity. We will continue the same topic in the next class also. Doctrine of pleasure. We are discussing now. Today we have discussed about the importance of civil services. Doctrine of pleasure. What is doctrine of pleasure? How it is applied in UK? How we are applying in India? What are the constitutional provisions like 311, 311, 310? We are applying. 310 deals with doctrine of pleasure. 311 deals with constitutional safeguards. Okay. So in this matter, I already sent material to your WhatsApp group also. This is what I am explaining and extending my elaborate discussion on this particular topic. Tomorrow we will continue this doctrine of pleasure, and then we will go for because it is going to take 2 to 3 days to complete this union of services under the union and state. Tomorrow we will.